What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Patrick here, moving on to another word problem with quadratics. So we got to find the y-intercept of a quadratic with the below characteristics. So an x-intercept of -2, axis of symmetry of -5, and a minimum value of -18. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these characteristics and I'm going to plot them on a graph. So an x-intercept of -2, so we know that the quadratic is going to go through here, and that's -2. It has an axis of symmetry at -5. So the halfway point, or the line that's going to cut this parabola in half, is this vertical line here at x is equal to -5. And we also know that axis of symmetry, that also represents what? The x value of the vertex. So we know the vertex is going to be somewhere here on this line. That's going to be the x value of the vertex, -5. And we're told that this parabola has a minimum value of -18. So notice that this tells us the y value of vertex. So we know the vertex is happening at an x value -5 and a y value of -18, which is down here. And we're told that it's a minimum value, which means what? The parabola opens up. If it was a maximum value, then we know the parabola would be opening down, right? That's a maximum right there. But because it has a minimum value, it's opening up. So from here, we can draw a diagram of the parabola. Looks something like that, right? Where this vertex here is -5, -18. It has an x-intercept of -2. Now notice we can get this x-intercept here as well pretty easily, because the distance from the axis of symmetry to one of the x-intercepts is going to be the same as the distance from the axis of symmetry to the other x-intercept. So from -5 to -2, that's a distance of what? 3. So from -5 to this point, if we subtract 3, that would give us -8. Right? So the intercepts, the two intercepts for this parabola are -8 and -2. When we add those together, -8 plus -2 divided by 2, get that halfway mark of -5. But we didn't have to get that x-intercept actually, but I thought I would just mention it. But let's say that we didn't. So let's say we just had this vertex and this x-intercept to work with of -2. How can we find the y-intercept? Well, let's extend this just to show it on the actual diagram. Not the best drawing there, but this is what we're going to be looking for. This is going to keep extending, and at some point it's going to cross that y-axis. So we know the coordinate of the y-intercept, the x value is going to be 0, and then we're looking for that value there. So how can we get that? Well, we should get an equation. And because we're given the vertex and another point on the graph here, which is -2 and 0, let's put this in vertex form. So vertex form, we know it's a bracket x minus h squared plus k. The vertex we know is -5, -18, so we know this is going to be x plus 5 squared, and this is going to be -18. And this is the y value right there. So this point is -2 and 0, so we can plug that point in to solve for the a value. So 0 would go for y, then -2 plus 5 squared would go for x. -2 you plug in for x. Then from here, -18 you could bring over, that would be +18. A -2 plus 5 is 3, 3 squared is 9. Divide both sides by 9 to get the a by itself, so we get an a value of 2, +2. So the equation, the final equation for this, I'm going to erase this here, is y is equal to 2 bracket x plus 5 squared minus 18, like that. And now from here, since we have an equation, it's really easy to find the y-intercept. All we do is we plug in 0 for x and they get that corresponding y value. Now, another thing I want to mention is we could have also got the factored form because we have both intercepts. So this would be ax plus 8. This would be x plus 2, right? The opposite signs of the intercepts. And then to solve for this a value, we could plug in -5 for the x's, then -18 for the y. And we would end up getting an a value of 2 here as well. And then once we have that equation, so we'd have 2 here, we plug in 0 for x and then solve for the y-intercept. So either way would give you the same answer. But as I said, this -8, we just sort of found it. We weren't really given it, so I'm trying to just work with what we're given. So the vertex from the axis of symmetry and the minimum value, and then that x-intercept point, -2 and 0, from this first characteristic here. And then with that information, found the vector form. And then from here, just plug in 0 for x. So this would be 2. 5 squared is 25 minus 18. That gives us 32, like that. So the y-intercept is 32. That's the answer. All right, so first thing you want to do, if you're given characteristics, draw the characteristics, try to draw an actual parabola, and then from there find one of the equations, whether the factored form or vertex form, and then from that equation you can get more stuff that they're asking for. In this case, they were asking for the y-intercept. Answer is 32.